Hey, what's up guys, welcome to my channel. If you guys are new here, I'm Alison. If you guys are into fashion, beauty, lifestyle, foundation review, and hauls video, don't forget to click the subscribe button down below and also click the bell button so you get a notification whenever I upload a new video on my YouTube channel. So if you guys are interested with the Marc Jacobs new foundation that they just launched recently, then let's keep on watching. Okay guys, so look at this Marc Jacobs bottle foundation finish. It has a very luxurious frosty glass finish and it comes with their branding on the center, very simple looking, and this is what the application looks like. It comes with this Dove applicator. It kind of looks like and reminds me of heart-shaped tape. Alright, let's get into this foundation review. So first off, I want to share with you guys what I use for priming my face on the base layer. So I did use my Becca Anti Brightener. This is something that I use to cancel out my dark circle whenever I put on my makeup. And then I'm using this Sisley Double Tense Primer. This is a primer that I use during the winter time just because it gives me a very nice moisture finish, like a serum when you apply it on, but at the same time it does hold on my foundation very nicely. So this is my go-to winter primer. And also I did a little of a Winky Lux whipped cream primer. So this is what it looks like on the inside. It's just like a very creamy texture, but this is something that I use to my center of my face because I do have large pores lately, and you guys can see my skin situation is not the best right now, but we are still going strong on this foundation review. So what you're looking at my face today, my face situation is actually a lot better from yesterday because of what I used during these few days, and I truly think it helps a lot. So this is something that I want to share with you guys in the future. Let me know in the comments down below if you guys are interested, if you guys have a really serious acne prone skin. But now let's get into this foundation review. Very little off topic. So first, when I heard the name of this foundation, it's Extra Shot Caffeine Concealer and Foundation, which is a 2-in-1, and I was pretty intrigued and I loved the marketing behind this just because actually a lot of time, let's be real, you can use your foundation as a concealer and you can use this concealer as a foundation, and concealer usually contains a higher coverage and foundation is just kind of help with your complexion on the skin. So I feel like their marketing skill is pretty good because actually with all the products you can do it the same way, but they just market in a 2-in-1 product. So if you guys watch my foundation review, you guys know I usually go with my concealer first. So since this claims to be a concealer and foundation 2-in-1, I'm gonna use this today and see what is the coverage of it. So I'm just gonna apply my concealer first, and usually I do this step because I love to have a full coverage concealer and I do have really bad dark circle. So I like to have it marinate and sit for a while, and then I will blend into it just to give me an extra coverage. So for this foundation, I'm gonna use a sponge on this side of my face, and I'm gonna use a brush on this side to see what are the difference. So again, the application, it does reminds me of a heart-shaped tape. So this is what I have on this side of my face, and I'm gonna blend it out. And while we're blending it in, we're gonna talk about what is this foundation and what it does and what it claims to be. So first off, this is the Marc Jacobs Beauty. This is the Extra Shot Caffeine Concealer and Foundation, and I purchased mine at Sephora.com. It retails for $39, and also it comes in 0.5 ounce of foundation, which is usually less than what a typical 1 ounce of foundation. So this foundation, it comes in 30 shade range, and I feel like it's not too bad, but it's not perfect. So first of all, this foundation, it claims to be a 2-in-1 caffeine infused concealer and foundation with a natural looking full coverage and all day wear to visible brighten and energize all skin types. It is a full coverage natural finish and a liquid formula. So now you guys can see this side is done, and you guys can see it's a pretty full coverage foundation. It does cover my redness on the skin, and also my forehead, it's a little dry on this side of my face, so you guys can see it actually just enhanced the texture area, and also my chin area, which I have like a problematic area on this side of my skin. But I would think it's a little weird that how it reacts on my nose because it feels like it didn't blend into my nose area and it just kind of stuck into my pores. Alright, so while we are waiting on the nose area with the primer to dry down, I'm gonna work this side of my face with using a brush application to see if it gives me a fuller coverage. And this foundation, it claims to be a fake to extra sleep with a flawless finish. This hydrating, crease-resistant formula blends seamlessly to quickly conceal dark circles, blemishes, and redness. With an oversized applicator for quick, all-over coverage, it works double time as buildable foundation for a visibly smoother, more even tone complexion. So some of the highlighted ingredients of this foundation, it contains caffeine, which is visibly re-energize and revive skin. We also have some oat extract, which calms and smooth your skin, and 5 forms of coconut, which is hydrate and nourish skin with an abundance of vitamins and nutrients. So I feel like with the brush, it gives me a lot more coverage comparing on the other side of my face, but it doesn't blend into the area. Like my nose area is a little tricky to blend it with the brush, but using a sponge, it kind of just take away a little of the coverage. Instead, it didn't give me coverage on my nose area, so that is something that's very interesting with this foundation. Yeah, again, I would say it's a little tricky to work on this kind of blemishes. It's like a 3D. It has a little redness. It's not fully gone. It's not fully developed. And this kind of acne, you do want to blend it in with your fingers so it doesn't just enhance the little dot. Actually, the concealer coverage is pretty nice. It's easy to blend after it has been sitting for a while. Consider this is more of a natural full coverage foundation finish. And again, I just feel like this foundation, it doesn't stay put on my skin, especially on my nose area. You guys can see it just stuck into my pores, and you guys can see once I touch my nose, you guys can see the foundation is gone. So I'm gonna see how I'm gonna work this out on my nose area, but I don't have much foundation that has the same issue on my nose. Okay guys, so I'm back for the final makeup look. So I don't have an issue while I'm putting on or layer on top of my bronzer, my contour, my blush, and other stuff that I layer on top of my face. I don't have any issue with that on top of this foundation. But while I'm doing my makeup, I was looking in the ingredients of this foundation, and I do realize they have hydrogenated coconut oil. So I'm not sure how well it will stay put on my skin, and hopefully it doesn't break me out, because I feel like with summer foundation, with whatever oil that they input in, it would just break me out. So hopefully, I'm hoping it doesn't get me super oily during the day, and also it doesn't break me out because I already have enough acne on the skin. Hopefully, finger crossed, it doesn't break me out. That's what I'm hoping for. But with this foundation, I would say it kind of makes me look a little aged. I age a little just because of how dry it is. It kind of enhances all the fine lines, which I don't see it normally because I do have oily skin, and it also enhances some of the texture around my temple area, which I normally don't have, and it doesn't stay well when I apply it on my nose area. So it takes me a couple of times to actually try to put on the makeup or this foundation on my nose. So this is my first impression for now. And also for this foundation, the double shot caffeine foundation, I feel like it's very similar and reminds me of what I've used back in the days. Before I start my YouTube channel, I was raving about this foundation just because I think it's like 2017 or 2018, around the time full coverage is a thing, and this is the foundation that everyone was talking about it, and it has a really good rating. So this is a Marc Jacobs Remarkable Full Coverage Foundation. I remember I used to love this a lot, but I don't use it as much for now because I barely go with a foundation that has full coverage. So this foundation, it kind of reminds me of the old version of the foundation, but I'm not sure, are they just reformulating it, or what are the difference between the two, or it just the name, they change it up. So I'm very curious to see what my final thoughts on this foundation, and I haven't been using this. Okay, so regardless, I'm gonna test this foundation out throughout the day, and I'm gonna see if this works well throughout the day for my acne prone skin and oily skin, and I'll give you guys a final thoughts of this foundation. And at the end of this video, I'll be rating this foundation. You guys know how I feel about this foundation, and I'll see you guys on next clip. Okay guys, I'm back for the final check-in, and now the time is 11. I've been wearing this foundation for 9 hours, so I'm here to give you guys my final thoughts on what I think about this foundation and how I'm gonna rate this foundation. So first off, I'm gonna go with the pros. So first off, the pros of this foundation. First off, with semi-oily skin people, you guys might like this a little bit more, but throughout the day you guys might have to blot because it does get me very oily, and it did start getting me oily around at the 4 hours mark wearing this foundation. So this foundation, it does get me a little bit oily, but I feel like with the natural oils come through, it makes it a little bit more natural looking on the face instead of that like cakey texture looking at the beginning when you guys see how I apply it on my face. So this is one of the pros that I like about this foundation. And then second is they put very nicely, the coverage is still on, I don't see anything takes off easily. And third one is I don't feel like this foundation is too heavy to wear on the skin that I have to scratch my skin, or there's something on the skin that it makes me feel uncomfortable. So that is all the pros on this foundation. And now moving on to the cons. So on the cons, you guys can see how applied on the face, it kind of get tricky if you guys have this little bump on the acne comes out, and also with textured skin around my chin area, you guys can see it looks a lot more cakey on the first application, but now that with natural oils come through, it looks more natural. But if you guys are more to the dry skin, I feel like this foundation is not for you because it just enhances all the fine lines that you don't see on your face. Even though I don't see any texture and fine lines I see on the face, because normally I'm pretty oily and I don't have much of the fine lines, I would say. Hopefully not in the future, but you guys will see with the fine lines that I don't see around this area, it kind of just shows up and enhance those areas, especially if you guys have fine lines on the forehead. I feel like it just enhances the lines as well. And second of all, it doesn't work with my skin type. I feel like this foundation, it doesn't apply well on my nose area, and I have to use the finger to blend it in, and then actually it takes me 3 times to apply the foundation on my nose area, the tip of my nose and around the rims of my nose. I don't know why, but it just kind of just stick into my pores instead of my whole area on the nose, so you guys can see the foundation dots on my nose. That is how unpleasant it looks when you're using a foundation, seeing how it wears around your pores but not for the coverage of foundations. And third thing is it does contain coconut oil. I'm not sure if I take this makeup off if I have any reaction after it, because usually with certain type of oil on a foundation I do have reaction on breaking out. So hopefully I don't, but you guys can check in my description bar below if I happen to have any reaction to this foundation. And also I feel like this foundation, it does give me a full coverage, very nice full coverage, but it does get me oily. And also if it's very tricky to work on textured skin and also like the 3D kind of acne going on, it's really hard to blend in. But it does give me an instant full coverage if you're using a brush application. And on this side of the face, if I'm using a sponge, it just gives me a more natural finish, but it still gives you a very nice coverage. But again, I feel like this foundation, I would rate this 7 out of 10 because for someone who has oily skin and texture acne prone skin, I don't feel like this is the one that it works for me because it's hard to blend it in and makes it look more skin-like or natural looking. But I know for full coverage, it doesn't necessarily give you a very nice like natural flawless looking on the face, and especially this is more like a matte finish on the coverage, but it does get me oily afterwards wearing for about 8 hours mark or 9 hours mark. So now I'm just gonna blot my face to see if it takes off the coverage. So I would say the coverage, it takes off easily, and you guys can definitely see the texture on my skin after blotting, what it looks like on the kitchen towel. You guys can see there's a lot foundation comes off easily, and my face looks a little bit rough in real person, especially on my forehead. It just create those fine lines which I don't normally see. So again, I don't think this foundation is for me, and I don't think I would wear this foundation again. And I do like a lot of drugstore foundation that they have in medium coverage, like the L'Oreal Infallible 24 Hours Wear. This kind of foundation you guys see me wear all the time, and I just reviewed another e.l.f. foundation on my channel. You guys can check it out so you guys will see how it works on my skin. But those are the one that I feel like it's more affordable price, especially with the 0.5 fluid ounce on a foundation. With this price point, I feel like it's way too expensive. But lastly, I do want to mention, it kind of reminds me, give me a lot of flashback of how it works on this foundation when I used to love this foundation with a full coverage. And I'm not sure are they the same formula or anything. I'm gonna do some research on it, but it just kind of reminds me on this foundation that I have in the earlier stage when I start up my makeup. So if you guys still have this foundation, I don't think they have this foundation available now, but I'm gonna check it out and let you guys know in the comments down below or in the description bar. But it just a heads up, it's very similar to the foundation I own from Marc Jacobs in the earlier state in like 2018, 2017, I don't remember, but this is the one that it reminds me, it brings me a lot of flashback of how it works. It's almost just like the same. And I would say the texture on this is a little slightly heavier than this foundation. So with that being said, if you guys have this foundation, I feel like it's very similar to the new Marc Jacobs foundation, and you guys might like this foundation if you guys have already owned this. Alright guys, so that's all my review on the Marc Jacobs foundation, and I do hope this foundation review does help you guys out. And also, if you guys enjoy watching this video, don't forget to give me a big thumbs up on this video and help your girls out here. And also, if you guys haven't subscribed already, don't forget to click the subscribe button down below, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye guys.